Hello. I apologize for this setup. I know it's backlit, but this is the only room where I can record at the moment. So this will do. My name is Monica and welcome to my channel. Have you ever had one of those moments where you were completely, what do you call it? You're completely content with the direction of your life, where it's heading, where it's going, and then suddenly something shiny came along and made you question everything. Maybe it's a new job with a big salary. Maybe it's someone else's lifestyle or relationship, business or success. And suddenly you start thinking, wait, should I be doing that instead? I know I've been there, and honestly, I don't think I'm the only one. So today I want to look at 3 Bible verses that can help us when we're tempted to chase every shiny opportunity that comes our way, even when deep down we know and recognize that it may not actually be who we are or what we want. And just to be clear, I'm not a Bible scholar or someone who has everything figured out. All the stuff that I share here is what I go through in life myself, and I just simply want to understand God's word and apply it to my own life. So let's explore this together. And the first verse that I want to share is Proverbs 4:25 to 27. Keep your eyes on your path. This tells us to keep our eyes looking straight ahead and to carefully consider the path we are taking. I think this is so relevant because we're constantly looking sideways at everyone else. For example, maybe we're working toward a career that we actually enjoy, then suddenly another job comes along and it pays more. It has a better title. It sounds impressive. And you start thinking, maybe I should take this. Anybody? Have you been there? I have been there. But when you really think about it, you realize that the job doesn't actually align with the kind of life you want. That's when we have to ask ourselves, do I actually want this job, or do I just want this opportunity, or what this opportunity represents? Maybe it's the money, maybe it's the status, maybe it's feeling, or maybe it's the recognition or the feeling that we're finally, quote unquote, successful. I believe that not every good opportunity is necessarily our opportunity. So sometimes I feel staying on our path requires us to stop looking at everyone else's. Another verse I'd like to share is Romans 12:2. Don't let the world define success for you. And this tells us not to conform to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Wow, that's powerful. And I think that's especially difficult today because we're constantly being shown what we're supposed to want and what we're supposed to have, like the amazing career, to make more money, to, I don't know what else, to have a beautiful house, traveling, all of that, right? Like the social media stuff, the AI stuff. And we're supposed to be, constantly growing and achieving. And I'm all for that. I love that. I love doing that. But there's nothing like inherently wrong with that as well. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. But what happens when we start pursuing them simply because we've been convinced that they're what a successful life is supposed to look like. So maybe we realize that what we actually want is meaningful work, more time with our family, and less stress, and maybe work that allows us to use God-given gifts. So that might not look impressive to everyone else, but it might be exactly what you need. So sometimes, what do you call it? We need to step back and ask, is this actually something I want, or have I been taught that I should want it? Okay, another verse I'd like to share is Hebrews 2:1-2. Run your own race. So Hebrews tells us to run with perseverance, like the race that is marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus. And I love the idea that we're each running a race that has been marked for us. Because our race is not going to look, or because your race is not going to look like mine, and my race isn't going to look like yours. Maybe someone changes careers and suddenly everything seems to fall into place for them. You see their success and you start wondering, maybe I should do that too. But sometimes someone else's success can make us question a path that we were actually perfectly happy with. So, and that's where comparison can become dangerous. Before we jump toward the next shiny thing, maybe we should pause and ask, was I actually unhappy with my path, or did seeing someone else's life make me question mine? And those are two very different things. And I think it's okay to admit that. And sometimes we're going to make the wrong choice. Sometimes we're going to chase something and realize later, you know what? This wasn't for me. And that's how we learn. That's part of being human. The goal isn't to perfectly understand God's plan for our lives. The goal is to keep seeking Him. And as we do that, we make our decisions. So if you are in a season where you're questioning career, your goals, or the direction of your life, maybe you don't need to immediately chase the next shiny opportunity. And when I say you, I also mean me. Maybe what we need is to slow down, pray about it, pay attention to what you genuinely value, and ask yourself, is this something I truly want, or am I simply comparing my life to someone else's? Because sometimes the right decision isn't the most exciting one. Sometimes it's the one that brings you back to who you really are, or who we really are, and the life that we're actually trying to build. So if you're like me and you don't always get this right, that's okay. We're all works in progress. We can change direction and learn from it and try again. And we can just continuing to invite God into the process. So before we chase the next shiny thing, let's take a moment to look at the path we're already on. And maybe there's a reason you were walking that way in the first place. And yeah, sometimes it just takes for us to do certain things, for us to figure out or to find out, oh, hey, I needed to experience that so I could be this person. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. If you like this type of content, if you like relationships and self-development, and I also share my faith, consider subscribing. That's it. Bye.